The NRL season is over, but the drama at the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs isn't. There have been many news articles that have come out recently about the training conditions and the wrestling and all the other misdemeanors that have been happening with Cameron Ciraldo and the Bulldogs. Their performance on the weekend shows that there is something wrong. And today we're going to talk about that performance and maybe dig a little bit deeper into some of those reports by the media. And to help me talk through all of it, as ever, my evergreen co-host, Dibbo. Good evening, Dibbo.
G'day, everyone. Tumultuous end to the season, I guess. Probably a lot of you are happy to see the end of it and probably glad your team isn't in the finals because you don't have those anxiety attacks like you probably did most years. But you know what? You're probably already itching for next year, I guess.
Look, to be honest, I think, across socials and on the kennel.net.au, what I've realized is that essentially people are happy that the season's over. And to be honest, this season was probably one of the most disappointing of the last 6 or 7 years because we thought that with Ciraldo, with some new signings, there'd be some improvement. And overall, I think 2023 has been a monumental failure as a season. I know Cameron Ciraldo spoke about us not having gone backwards since the days of Trent Barrett, but I would argue that we're in a worse position today than we were last season. For many reasons, I think there are some real cracks starting to show. There are some real issues in the team. Some players obviously don't want to be there, unhappy with actually having to work hard. And I think that's the big challenge moving forward into 2024. Sure, we've made some signings, but it's about getting the culture right. It's about getting complete buy-in from the players, because without that buy-in, it doesn't matter who we have. We're not going to be successful. And I want to start by pointing a big contrast out. And I want you guys to really tell me what you think in the comments, if this is spot on about, I guess, the division in the team. So you have someone like Jacob Kiraz, who has played his absolute guts out every single game, whether it be centre or at wing, has never taken a step back, has put his 100% all and has been a shining light for us. Turns out that for a good part of the season, he was playing with a spinal fracture, right? He thought he had some stiffness in his back. He wasn't sure what it was. It's a spinal fracture. So this guy's been going out week after week, going to training, not late, not missing any sessions, not missing a beat playing with a spinal fracture and not complaining. On the other hand, we have other players who are whinging about the workload being too high, about training being too difficult, and not appreciating punishment that the coach has instituted for being late. And I guess it shows the disparity between, I guess, our top players, our players that want to be there, and the players that just want to get paid. And it really needs, we need to be able to get that right, that mix right. We need to be able to fill that gap with players like Jacob Kiraz, Jacob Preston, Reid Marnie. And it's very interesting, right? Our captain comes out and he says, if anything, the Bulldogs need to be working harder to get out of the hole that they're in. But then you have, I know Raymond Faitala-Mariner was complaining, the other young player who, has mental health issues after the whole wrestling issue, which I'm going to get into in a little bit more detail. I'm going to try and break down the timeline of that because there are some differing reports. But I mean, how do you see this from an external, angle, from someone who doesn't support the team?
Yeah, look, I think you touched on it already. It's obviously getting the right culture happening. Look, I know Canterbury, a lot of the outside noise, a lot of noise is coming from the outside. A lot of these injuries have been happening for the whole year, basically training methods. It's only now it's really come to the fore because the way I see it is it's obviously an agenda written by certain tabloids against certain people at the club. those certain people at the club knew it would come to this. So they knew you'd have your dramas, your walkouts. They knew you basically nothing. It was going to be a bumpy ride. They knew it was going to be a bumpy ride. For you to basically instill discipline, hard work ethic, of course, you're going to lose the baggage, and you might lose some very extremely talented players. You're going to get negative headlines. Your mental health, your trust is going to be tested at times. I got absolutely no qualms absolutely about it. If your coach is a tough taskmaster, respect to you, mate. So that's what you want. When we were training, I remember, I think under my previous coach, just, I know it's just amateur football, but I think I was just a talented kid that would blow heavy basically in the last 20 minutes of the game. The coach I went to afterwards, he was a tough taskmaster, and he absolutely would slaughter us during the preseason training sessions. He'd upset a lot of us, but, he whipped us into shape. I think I would literally do the whole 70 minutes without even, fitness was top notch. Obviously there was friction there, but he had our respect. He whipped us into shape. I know Cam's going to whip the boys into shape. Just got to lose the excess baggage. Everyone's not always going to get along.
No, look, spot on. I think that's well said, and I totally agree with you that sometimes you have to cut the excess fat. And I think over the next 4 months before the start of the 2024 season, Cameron Ciraldo will be looking to weed out those players that are not willing to put in the hard yards to get to the success. And it's interesting that you mention you need to be whipped into shape, because I want to talk about some comments that were made by some ex-players, not only from the Bulldogs but from other teams, but also some comments made by some Penrith players that were coached by Cameron Ciraldo. And I'm going to start by one comment that was made by Dylan Edwards.
Yep.
And what's interesting is Dylan Edwards, you wouldn't say he's the most talented fullback, but you would say he's the most fit and the most active fullback that we have.
Very fit, very active. He hit the nail on its head. Obviously not the most talented, but
he's incredible. I'm not no disrespect to him at all.
He gives you literally high octane for the whole 80 minutes.
110%.
And that's what, Billy Slater, he was high octane for the whole 80 minutes.
And he's come out in support of Cameron Ciraldo. He said that Cameron Ciraldo was one of the best coaches that he's ever had, and one of the best coaches for him personally. And he also said that, well, if you want to win a premiership, it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be grueling. This is Dylan Edwards, current Dally M medalist, current Clive Churchill medalist.
Oh, you mean Clive Dally M?
Sorry, Clive Churchill. He was the Dally M fullback, wasn't he?
I got no idea.
Either way, Clive Churchill medalist has won 2 grand finals in a row, potentially in a third. And he's coming out in support of Cameron Ciraldo, saying that, he was one of the best coaches he's had, and it's supposed to be hard. That's from a current player, right? As well, Stephen Crichton on Instagram has liked a lot of the posts that were made with quoting Ciraldo about the hard work that's necessary to achieve it. So clearly, the players in successful teams understand what it takes to be successful, and those players in a team like the Bulldogs who just want to cruise, make the big bucks, and not do the hard work, don't understand that. But go on. Sorry, go on.
No. I was just saying, keep going. I'm just going to say it looks like what Cam and Phil are getting to. Pretty much. They're going to have they're building a team where it's not lopsided. As in, when I mean lopsided, the money's and literally staggered on a few players. Yeah. It's literally across the board. I can tell you now, if Nathan Cleary isn't available to play for Penrith for the season, I can tell you now they'll still finish top 8. And
top 4.
I just didn't want to go overboard, but they'll definitely make the finals.
Well, how many games did they win when Cleary was out?
Of course. They've had Cleary missing for half a dozen weeks. They've had Luai missing for half a dozen weeks.
Colga comes in, does a stellar job.
They got class across the whole board. Their forwards will rock it. Their backs will rock it. Even if the halves are missing, they still function.
And look how many quality plays they've lost over the years and continue to function like an absolutely world-class. Honestly, one of the best teams I think we've ever seen. One of the best functioning teams we've ever seen.
Of course.
And just to sort of back up what Dylan Edwards, Stephen Crichton is saying, so Josh Morris came out on 2GB and he was asked about the culture when he played there, right? And he said, he doesn't think all the Bulldogs players are working hard, and that's a problem. When he was playing, wrestling 20, 30 blokes, that was a Monday or a Tuesday when he played with Des Hasler. We would wrestle nonstop, and you pretty much go until you couldn't breathe. It's the generation, and he also goes on to say it's the generation as well. They want to get paid as much as they can for doing as little as possible. The job hasn't changed. You're a professional athlete.
Of course. You go into the office, you want to give it a yaw because you want to maximize your pay, not work as little and earn as much because nobody will hire you. It's the same across the sporting world. I'll just point out one thing. Canterbury fans, they shouldn't be upset they're losing players. I mean, they're losing, players that don't want to put in. If anything, it's opening up spots for you guys, opportunities for other guys that want to be there, that want to strive for that position. Why would you be happy and content if you, for example, finish 15th, as I think they finished 15th, as they did this year, and then still have the same squad next year? You'd want to see change.
Well, to be honest,
for the right reasons.
I would take 30 Jacob Kirazes or 30 Jacob Prestons over 30 of the best players in the competition that don't want to put in the effort.
I just want to point out something. Jacob Kirazes that's the stubbornness of the Lebo stubbornness.
Yeah, 100%.
Broken leg, broken back, still keep going.
I'll be all right. Yalla, keep going.
That's it, mate.
Martin Lang won a premiership under his father, John Lang, in 2003.
He was fearless.
He came out and he said as well, talking about Cameron Ciraldo, he said, and this is on Twitter, you can go and check it out yourself. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter and like and subscribe this video. Help us out a lot, and we've got a lot of content coming up on the off season. Martin Lang says, NRL standard players do not complain about arduous training methods. Cameron Ciraldo should be congratulated, not questioned. This is Martin Lang, who's still very fit, who still trains very, very hard.
I thought they would have embraced the torture, embraced we used to embrace it. As much as we hated life, we used to embrace it because we wanted to push and challenge each other. And then we also wanted to show the coach that, we could handle what you threw at us.
Yeah, I mean...
So to go to the media, and the scummy media, as it is...
We'll get to that. And there is a particular player I'm going to single out after I get to this.
Yep.
But Bryce Gibbs, you remember Bryce Gibbs? Big
Keith
forward.
Galloway's a sparring partner.
So Bryce Gibbs as well came out on Twitter and he said, look, it's not hard to be on time. If you can't be on time for training, you'll most likely won't be on time to push up on a play or cover a gap in defence. You either want it or you don't.
Of course. It's the same way as, normal citizen off the street goes to work. You're not rocking up on time. You're going to be pulled up about your lateness or your performance. We all cop it. No special treatment for anyone.
Absolutely no special treatment. And, Willie Mason also came out throughout the week on his podcast, the Levels podcast. Check it out. And he said those players who are whinging, they're soft as shit. And people are like, that's unprofessional. Willie's involved with the club. He shouldn't be saying that. You know what? Willie needs to call it out for what it is. And I appreciate what Willie said.
First and foremost, this is a guy who has more right than any guy off the street to make those comments.
Absolutely.
Been there, done that, rep footy, everything,
Kicked
done
ass.
it all, made the match in a grand final,
He's achieved it, and not only that, he's involved, and he can actually speak to the hard work and the dedication that Ciraldo's putting in and trying to instill in the team. And if it was, look, he probably wouldn't come out and bag Ciraldo.
I reckon he's trying to encourage the players by having a go at him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon what Willie's doing is not actually trying to put them down. I reckon he's trying to, guys,
rev them up. He's trying to rev them up.
I'm talking now. I was there, been there, done that. That is soft. So he's probably just trying to give him a kick in the backside. I think Willie's intentions are right. Obviously, there's other people with their malicious intentions, but I think Willie's in the right. I
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. And it comes as no surprise that it's the Daily Telegraph that's
Telegraph. Yep.
That's pushing these agendas and pushing many of these articles, and I think
and it's obvious as daylight because Canterbury won 7 games. And recruited for next year, and they're still on a recruitment drive, and they've absolutely put them for the rinser. Whereas on a position below them, you got St. George who had 5 wins, and barely get a mention. Who have they recruited next year? 1 player.
But you know what?
And they barely even got a mention.
But if you look at this week particularly, we had so many great new players debut for their clubs over the weekend. We had some exciting youngsters. Falongo from Melbourne. You had I forgot the young player from the Broncos debuted. There were so many young players on debut for their clubs.
And you guys have done it throughout the year. So.
But I mean, there is so much positivity to be able to talk about speak about, like, for example, Falongo in Melbourne. He's only the 5th Victorian player.
But let's go attack Canterbury again for the 50th week in a row.
And that Chan player, first Melbourne player for father and son combo to play for the same team in Melbourne. He had a great debut. He played
Alex Chan his father?
Alex Chan his father.
When you said Chan, because I knew the father.
Yeah, that was Alex Chan's son.
Well,
Alex Chan's son debuted for Melbourne.
He's of Asian descent.
He is of Asian descent, and he had a cracker game.
Amazing.
And then you had Gordon Chan Kom Tong, who played his second game. I thought he played very, very well, providing a lot of spark out of them. He's playing very well. Might be on the podcast, maybe we'll see.
Hey, look, I'll tell you now, he's got a try to his name. He's got a goal kick to his name.
He's playing very well.
He's in the right place at the right
another
time.
One that another one that could have been spoken about, but no, they decided to push some rubbish articles about the Canterbury Bulldogs, and one that really.
And he's already a crowd favourite.
He's a cult hero
already.
But instead of that, what they try and do is they're pushing not like absolutely rubbish articles. Like one came out
fake rumours as well.
About Josh Adokar wants to leave.
The guy went and what about his performance on the weekend?
He scores a hat trick, puts
and he
all
comes
in.
and rubbishes it. Like, seriously, I wonder who these guys got as their concubines or spies or informants for him.
He's like, it's all, quoting Josh Adokar from ABC Sport, he says it's all, and this is a weird word, I've never really heard anyone use this word before, but he says it's all kakabum, bro. I'm signed here for the Dogs. I'm proud to be a Bulldog. How much more? Like, look, I don't care that, people say I'm staying and then they go.
He loves being a footy player. You see him walking through Belmore.
Yeah,
he loves it. And he says hello to everyone. He gives everyone fist pumps. And
he's loved by the Bulldogs, and he knows how important he is. And he's not the type of player that's going to sit there and whinge. Yeah. And he puts his all, every game. Sometimes, when the team's not performing, when he doesn't get opportunities, that's the fate of a winger.
You know what? I know he hasn't played the full season each of the last 2 years. He still had a decent, really good return for the amount of games he's played.
Absolutely.
For a side that's finished, 15th and 14th?
Yeah. I think, it's a bit of a shame that they're doing it. And, Bus Rothfield's... The thing is, when this whole thing first came out, right, about this young player who's had a bit of a whinge, they didn't say that it happened 5-6 weeks ago. They
made it major headlines,
because...
A lot of times that doesn't even make headlines.
But that's
it happens at every club.
Yeah, but obviously there's an agenda there against Phil Gould and Cameron Ciraldo. There's any club that Phil Gould works at, they try and attack him and attack everything that he does. And it's very interesting that they've come out with, for example, no real details. Then at first it was it was the whole team, right, for hours, and then it was 4 minutes. 8 players in 4 minutes. Then it was all the players that weren't injured for 30 seconds each, and then he left immediately crying. But then we find out that he was actually playing there for a whole week before he actually made a complaint, right? So the whole story is, well, okay, so what's the truth here? Is he going through something else that also contributed to this? And look, I'm not going to mention who the player is, because I honestly do worry about his mental health, and I'm not here to attack any one person. And if he's not able to keep up with it, maybe rugby league isn't for him. Maybe he's not cut out to be an NRL player. Yeah, simple as that.
Look, rugby, a lot of these guys got to get through their head. You don't have to stick to rugby league. You can just go make a career of it. There's a lot of good gigs out there.
Absolutely.
But if it's not for you, it's not for you. You've made it, but that's it. There's other paths in their life.
And I never thought I'd be saying this, but it's actually Danny Weidler, of all people, who was the voice of reason.
I've always thought Danny Weidler's been the most reasonable out of all the journos.
Look,
I've never actually. The only time in recent times I've actually tried to inquire with Danny Weidler online is why Rod Churchill's getting a run. Like, who is he? Did he play first grade?
Yeah.
So I just pointed out to you, might as well just ask Don Bradman's son about the current plight of cricket. I mean, the guy never played first-class cricket, and Rod Churchill never played first-grade rugby league. So you might as well just go ask the 7-Eleven worker if you want the same opinion. You know,
Look,
I don't care if you're the son of a legend, but sorry, there's a thousand other rugby league players that would be more qualified to give an opinion than this guy. I know he's a passionate South fan, but I mean, eventually his comments became personal, and you know, it was he was attacking a player for sticking up his own for his own people who have been vilified for so long.
Look, I agree with you, and
you know, it went beyond football afterwards.
And it's very interesting, like Weidler speaks about the penalty and what happened, and he says that it lasted for just over 4 minutes. One by one, there were 24 players who had quick wrestles on their knees with the player. Each individual wrestle lasted between 5 and 10 seconds, so not even 30 seconds.
That would have been fun, though.
The player was spent after the session. It's exhausting work. It's supposed to be. Danny Weidler says it's supposed to be. Afterwards, he was sitting against the wall near the wrestle mats, smiling because he had completed the task.
Why was he complaining afterwards?
He wasn't broken, bruised, or bleeding.
So what, somebody got in his ear after, or the Daily Telegraph got in his ear after?
Well, to be honest, I think that...
Who was the concubine that gave out? Who was the informant concubine that gave out all the information?
Look, I'm not going to speculate. So I won't mention any names, but I don't think it's too difficult to put one-on-one together. There have been a few players that haven't played for the Bulldogs in a few weeks who are supposed to be in the leadership team.
Yeah,
and
right, okay.
And it's been quite disappointing that their silence is quite deafening, to be honest.
Yep.
Which is interesting. I'll say that. I want to talk about one player, and I will mention this name because this guy came out and did speak in the media about the Bulldogs. And that's Andrew Davey.
Yeah, what about Andrew?
So Andrew Davies come out and he said, he didn't like the way Ciraldo trained. He didn't like, didn't get along with Ciraldo. He left, and it was a bit cold and stuff like that. No, but he's come out recently and said this and said that the training's not great.
Well, it wasn't to his liking, so he just went somewhere else that it's his liking.
Andrew Davies played all of 40, first grade games in God knows how many years. And look, that's not something to sneeze at. And, he's a first grade player, fair enough. But he says the way the Bulldogs went about things, I didn't like it. It wasn't a culture that I fitted in with, and it wasn't the style of coaching that I resonated with. And the way it's positioned, obviously, by the Telegraph Sport and by, Buzz Rothfield and Brent Reed and whoever else writes these stupid articles, is obviously to try and pin, Davey against the Bulldogs. And obviously,
of course, Davey didn't like it. He left. That's it. He left, and that's that. And you know what? Canterbury be happy he left, because if you didn't want to be there, thank you for being honest with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see you later.
But I think it's interesting that he knew what was going on, yet he came and he said these things.
All of a sudden, it makes headlines now. It's probably been blown out of proportion.
But look, Jammer, James Graham, God bless him.
Do you reckon he punched someone out tonight?
Look, I don't think he punched someone out, but he did come out in response to Andrew Davey and he said something.
Oh, right.
And his response is excellent. And this is, they should bring...
How many games did he play? 400 all up?
I played too many.
450, yeah.
But he came out and he said Andrew Davey came to the club thinking he was going to play every week, and he got outworked by a 21-year-old called Jake Preston.
Whoa.
And Jake Preston embarrassed him.
Yeah, but...
So he kicked his toys and pissed off the Parramatta.
Okay, but Jake Preston's Jake Preston's a spring chicken. He's full of energy. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a great player.
It's not like you got outworked by 18 or
no, but it's not
player.
that. But what James Graham's trying to point out is because he says you didn't like it because you weren't getting picked, and the 21-year-old pressed it, shoved it up your ass. See you later.
Of course. Well, there you go.
And look, I thought that's a perfect response.
It's a win-win for both. If Davey didn't like it, he wasn't putting in, go somewhere else where you might like.
Yeah,
wasn't he at Parramatta before there anyway?
He was. So he was. Parramatta, Manly, then Bulldogs, then Parramatta again.
Yeah, well, there you go. He's gone back. Did he even play for Parramatta? Hardly.
And even for the Bulldogs, he only played a handful of games because he had concussion issues and,
Well, that's it. Dogs got their man in Preston and he excelled for him, so...
Yeah, but I just think, look, it's
I would have just kept that at a minimum if it was me. Oh, look, thank God you're on your way out, and it worked out better for us. Or to just rubbed it in that way. Yeah,
but I mean, for him to come out and Davey come out and try and I
reckon they've blown it out of proportion, the media, just to play, as you said earlier, make it pit Canterbury against Davey.
Possibly, but it was also, it was silly on his part to make those comments right now when he knows what the atmosphere's like.
Yep.
But just looking quickly over the game.
They would have went fishing for those comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who left Canterbury this year? Oh, yeah, let's go.
Dave, yeah.
And then probably pushed him.
But I just want to go over the Dogs and Titans game very quickly. Look,
you know what? I know you didn't win. Sorry, I have to cut you off there.
No, absolutely.
But before any negativity, you know what? They gave it a dig. They came back late, 34-30. I saw some good efforts in there. I know it was late in the season.
But I think it's very symbolic of our season. I think it's very symbolic of our season. Like Kieran Foran, who has never scored a game, never scored a hat-trick before in his life, 286 games, hasn't scored a hat-trick.
286?
Yes,
wow.
286.
All those injuries, he's still 286?
Yeah.
I hope he brings up to 300 next year.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I don't have...
Does the NRL give him life membership? For someone that's put his body there and broken it for the game? I mean, hope he gets there.
Look, I do, but for us to like, two of his tries were very soft up the middle, which again has been very symbolic of I guess the Bulldogs. You know, they had 7 line breaks to 4. I think we did in certain periods. I thought our defense on the in our 20-meter line on our try line was good, better than what it has been.
Just those soft.
It's just
tries.
just
he
those.
Could have won that game.
To be honest, I still think
Addo was exciting to watch. He scored that try. Wow.
Kiko, I think Kiko was still heavily underdone. Like, he's missing way too many tackles.
He'll get another preseason under his belt. I heard you guys aren't doing Mad Monday.
No.
So he's feeding the homeless?
Yeah, they went and fed the homeless today.
Oh, today? I thought they were going to do it on Saturday. Somebody told me they were doing it on Saturday. Brothers in Need. No,
today they did it on Monday. I think they may have done it. Yeah, I think they may have done a bit more as well, but under wraps, I don't know. But I know that they did it today, and it was great to see. It was great to see that all the players were there.
That's fantastic.
You know, I thought it was really, really good.
Good on him. Who cares about Mad Monday?
I think Mad Monday.
What do you dress up as a hairy ballerina and just have the crappy heavy carb-loaded beer? Yeah. So crap. If you gave them like a shitload of food, all right. That's a good feed, Mad Monday.
Look, I think it's it was good. But we still missed, something like 50 tackles. Which is, again...
at least they weren't playing at home against a reserve grade side and got towed up.
It's true. 45 tackles missed, 30 ineffective, which if 75... ineffective or missed tackles altogether is you're never going to win a game having that many missed and ineffective tackles.
Interesting. Is Ciraldo, have they flagged any changes to the coaching staff?
Well, they said they're going to review everything, so we're yet to see how that goes. I'd like to
see some new voices coming for the coaching. It doesn't look like they've...
Well, they did. They said they're looking at getting Jason Taylor.
Hang on a second.
Sydney Bears.
Mr. JT. I think JT's the only coach in history to take over midway through a season and take a team to the finals when he did it with Parramatta.
I'm not sure. Look, I don't know if he's the man, but we're going to try something, I guess.
Yep.
Again, our forwards, Liam Knight, 53 meters. I will say, though, 53. Curtis Moran is an absolute freak.
Oh, he gives you 100%.
129 meters.
Jim Dimmick reincarnated. Not as good as him yet, but yeah, he plays that similar style. Jim Dimmick was a star ball player as well, could play you 5'8".
Yeah, Max King had a great dig, 160 meters. I think he's the first prop in about 10 weeks to make over 100 meters.
What? No, you had Liam Knott the other week make over 100.
No, he only made 90.
Did he make like 130 or 150 another week?
No, he's made averaging about 90.
Jeez.
Max King, 190 meters.
Oh, Waddell made over 100 meters.
Yeah, but Waddell's not a prop. Waddell's a second rower.
What's happening there? Are you guys going to re-sign Waddell?
I don't think they're going to re-sign Waddell. Ryan Sutton, 4 runs for 29 meters.
No, see you later.
I don't understand what that was. He played 31 minutes. But which is interesting, Curtis Moran only played 38 minutes and still made 130 meters.
Yeah, he was busy.
Yeah.
Put his hand up.
Absolutely. Max King, 62 minutes, 160 meters. Like, that's the effort that we saw from him in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, some of your players aren't putting in.
Yeah, Liam Knight only played 29 minutes.
Yeah, okay. If he chalked up about 50 to an hour, he would have got 100 plus.
Yeah, but...
Fair enough.
Look, there's a lot of work to be done in the off season. Yep. We will be doing a full 2023 season review in the next week or so for the Bulldogs. But yeah, overall, look, the game wasn't terribly exciting, wasn't horrible.
You had some shining lights this year.
Oh,
He had
Blake,
about maybe 3 or 4, yeah.
absolutely. Blake Wilson, Jacob Kiraz, Jake Preston, Averillo, which, unfortunately is gone, and I will never get over him leaving.
I think you broke your membership record as well, didn't you?
Don't think so. I don't think we broke our
sure?
Yeah, we hit 20,000 members, but I don't think we broke the record.
Jeez, imagine that. Cellar dwellers and hitting 20,000 members.
Yeah, look.
Jeez, you guys would sell out Shark Park twice over this week.
Yeah.
And that's despite coming 15th.
There's a big furor going on about them playing at Shark Park.
I don't get it. Back in the 80s and 70s and 90s, if you made the finals, regardless, you had to play it at the big stadiums.
Yeah.
Sydney Football Stadium, or even in the 80s, the Sydney Cricket Ground, the Sydney Sports Ground. I don't get this. He's playing at 11,000, 12,000 seater. Might as well play it at St George Soccer Stadium.
Yeah, it's a final. He should have gone. Play
it at Marconi Stelling's home ground. That fits more. Bloody hell,
it's pretty disappointing.
It is.
We had some shining lights this season, but we also
you know how bad it is. Penrith, and nothing against the Penrith establishment. How much does their stadium fit? 23,000.
Yeah.
They would honestly. They get. You could give them Allianz and they'll still get you 30, 35 of their fans.
Easily.
But give them Bank West and they'll sell it out.
Yeah, easily.
It's about another half an hour, 40 minutes up the road.
They'll still sell it out.
I reckon, is there any way we can... There's going to be 10,000 fans going to miss out.
I think there'll be more than that missing out.
Honestly, go to Telstra Stadium. Warriors fans, they'll travel in droves from New Zealand.
Oh, mate, the Warriors...
You open it to a bigger stadium, and put on all those extra flights, you'll easily get a few thousand to 5,000 coming out from New Zealand.
Yeah. Look,
it's
definitely Warrior season. I think there's a lot of hype going on right now around the Warriors.
Take the Shark Park game. I know they lose home ground advantage to Allianz, but if you're 5th, you're good enough to beat the side that came 8th. I know it's going to be their home ground, but Allianz, what do you want? 11,000? And set the game backwards? Or do you want to get to Allianz and Roosters have been averaging almost 30,000 a home game this year. You'll probably get 40,000 at that game, minimum 30,000.
Look, to be honest,
they are absolutely bananas.
I see both arguments. I do understand both arguments.
About home ground advantage, it's gone. For Sydney sides, literally you're 30 Ks away or 10 Ks. In the case of Cogra and Shark Park, you can literally see each stadium from there.
Yeah.
It's literally across the Georges River or the Bay Area. It's probably 3 Ks or 2 Ks away.
But I do understand it. Look, I do understand it. I do. So, I wanted to get your tips quickly on the finals games just before we wrap up. Broncos and Storm, 2nd versus 3rd.
Z, if you're watching, Broncos.
Predicted score?
26-12.
Man of the match?
That zippy fullback for the Walsh.
Okay. I'm
Bloody Munster. Now Munster just came away and I'm scared. Cameron Munster.
I'm going to say Storm by 10.
Cameron Munster, it's his time.
I'm going to say it's Jerome Hughes.
Or not Nelson Asafa Solomona.
He'll be big, but I think Jerome Hughes
is just scary. Like, they got those players that win it by themselves.
Yeah.
Nas, Hughes can do it. Munster, the freak.
Harry Grant.
Yeah. But look, what's his name? Pappenhausen.
But he should be on the bench, I think. He'll play on the bench somewhere, and I think he's
lacking that zip. He needs another.
He needs another. He'll be better for next year.
Couldn't go himself. Did you see it against the Broncos?
Yeah, I did. But I mean, that youngster, man, incredible.
Is he eligible to play finals?
Yeah, of course he would.
Wow.
If needed, but I don't think they want to play him. They'll have Pappenhausen there. But look, I'm going to say Storm by 8 or 10.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Hughes, man of the match. Hughes, man of the match.
I hope you're watching Z. You got a friend now.
Panthers, Warriors, 1st versus 4th.
Yeah, Panthers. It's their time. I'm going to go 32-10, and please prove me wrong, Warriors, but I'm going to go Penrith 32, Panthers 10.
No, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say Warriors.
I'll be so happy.
I'm going to say Warriors.
I'm just thinking with my brain, not my heart.
Look, I can think with my heart. Dogs are out. I'm heartbroken. Let me go a bit crazy. I want to say Warriors by 8.
Wow.
Warriors by 8.
Yep. Who's the man of the match there?
I want to say man of the match will be Adam Fanua-Blake.
I'm going to go Moses Leota.
Yeah, he's amazing.
We both went forwards. You went Fanua-Blake.
Yeah,
what a player.
He's an amazing
He's the best
player.
forward. He's the best prop in the game at the moment.
I think him and James Fisher-Harris are incredible.
No, I think, he is.
What is that? Look, I am, but I love the Warriors. They've always been like a favorite team of mine. Always love going for the Warriors. And look, the amount of hype and
that, yeah, fair enough.
there's just so much groundswell behind them.
I just feel if they got a bigger stadium, you get more Warriors fans as well. That's just,
I think
so wrong.
It's sold out, and there'll be a lot of Warriors fans there.
Pull your finger out of your ass,
right.
and whatever, Abdo, the guy that, what did he say, 193 try assists?
Don't worry about him. He has no idea about rugby league.
Please,
Sharks, Roosters, 6th versus 7th.
Sharks versus the Poosters. Isn't that 5th? Oh, no, that's the 9th.
6th.
I got that muddled up.
Yeah.
Sharks versus the Roosters. Roosters, geez, they've come good at the right time. I just think Roosters are missing that little bit of extra forward power, and that is Jared Warrior-Hargreaves' fault. Is a big loss for them. But they've been winning without him. Well, they won the last game, 2 games. Well, only this game they won without him. To Southside just failed. I'm going to go Sharks. I think they just got too many forwards off the bench coming on to keep the intensity up there. So I'm going to go Sharks 24-12.
Interesting.
Look, this is the Roosters' time as well. This is their specialty.
To be honest, I actually think I'm going to go Roosters.
Yep.
I'm not a.
They got the form.
I don't like the Roosters, but I'm going to go Roosters.
You're not wrong. Those young guys are coming good. Fletcher Baker.
I'm going to say man of the match.
Yep.
Lindsay Collins.
It's a good shout. For me, it is going to be. Hang on a sec. I know what's his name. Who plays 5'8" for the Trindle.
Yeah, Braden Trindle.
I think Trindle won't be. I think Trindle will get him over.
I think my only reservation with the Sharks is even against a Raiders team that was down to 12 men, I just didn't see that.
Actually, hang on a sec. Is Hamlin Ueli playing?
I'm not sure.
I might go for him for man of the match. I think he's just been underdone the whole year. I think he's now just going to pick it up. I'm going to go Braden Hamlin-Uele man of the match if he's playing. Sorry, Trindle, but
yeah,
I think Hamlin-Uele will get you in the forwards.
I'm going to go Roosters, Lindsay Collins. Roosters by 8 or 6. I think Roosters by 6.
It's a close one, eh? No surprises there either. They've got the form.
Yeah. Knights, Raiders, 5th versus 8th.
You know, it's crazy. Do you remember what I tipped Canberra at the start of the year?
Wooden spinners. Oh, you did too?
I did. 8.
Wow.
Because everyone forgets about Canberra. It's so ugly. They've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Literally 7th, 8th, just the ugly spots. You know, everyone forgets about them. No one cares about Canberra. Eh? They get all the ugly wins. Newcastle. It's in Newcastle. I'm going to go Newcastle 38, Canberra 6 or 4. 38-4, 38-6, whatever, if they get that kick in or not.
Yeah, I'm going to go Newcastle by plenty.
Yeah, your man of the match? Are you thinking Bradman or are you thinking Ponga?
No, I want to be Thurston. I'm going to say man of the match, Bradman Best.
Bradman Best, good shout. He was very good on the weekend.
Yeah.
I want to go Bradman.
Look,
I'm going to go Ponga.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I think I know
like Bradman as well.
I know that Walsh right now is the new fullback and he's the new hot thing, but I have
Ponga's got it all in his game.
I think Ponga as a fullback is a more complete player.
Of course he is,
than Walsh. Even at the same age, Ponga was a better player than Walsh, in my opinion.
Can I just give a shout out? And I know he gets attention, but I still reckon he's an unsung hero in that side. Hastings.
Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, Hastings is an unsung hero.
Watch him get better and better. I think he just needed time for his confidence to really come into his game and his stability and the players to really get used to him.
He's made a massive difference.
By all accounts, I've spoken to a lot of guys that played with him or trained with him. I'm one of and everyone's literally said the same thing. Absolute freak.
Yeah.
The most talented guy they ever played or trained with. Just how it does not happen in the games. It's a number of factors, they reckon, but yeah, he's starting to come into his own.
Yeah, and look, to be honest, I just don't think the Raiders will be able to compete at all.
No, too many players suspended or injured now. And form is
Knights are 9 on the trot.
Yeah, 10 next.
If they beat the Raiders, they'll be 10 on the trot.
And then they'll beat Melbourne, hopefully.
That would be so incredible. Yeah, can you imagine the Knights make it to the grand final?
Oh, yeah, the Novocastrians. They love their footy up there.
Yeah, I don't know if they will make the grand final, but I think they'll make it. They'll make it to week 2.
But I think they've been literally almost selling out every game now.
No, they have been. Every single game.
38,000 or something? It's a big stadium.
No, it's not. I don't think it's... No, McDonald Jones doesn't hold 38,000. I think it's more like 25, 26,000.
No, 38. Google it.
Anyway, it's been sold out for weeks. And this is no different. I think it's already sold out. Yeah, look, I know the Knights put us to the sword twice, but I like it when the Knights do well, and I think they've. The thing is, I don't really feel like the Knights are a dirty team.
I feel that ever since State of Origin, Bradman Best has just taken his game to the whole. That third game, he's just gone a whole new level.
And he's brought that back to club level.
Of course, he's still unsigned, eh?
No, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he's accepted. I'm pretty sure like verbal acceptance. Yeah, but you know what I think has been.
I think he can command big money. That guy.
Do you know? I think
play fullback.
I think it's
his body. Yeah.
Unsung for the Knights. The Saifidi brothers.
Oh, their forwards turning in and out. Who's the other big Polynesian fella that's been starting ahead of them all?
Thompson. Is that his name?
No.
Hang on.
I don't know. But what about that? What's his name? Matt Croker or something? Another
off the bench.
He's Mr. Keep Going. He's another one that puts in effort when he comes on.
Actually,
reminds me of Joel Thompson. That one, Matt Croker.
Yeah, he does actually. No, he does.
He's agile. He's versatile, and he gives you it all. He scores a lot of tries for a forward as well.
Oh wait, I want to get you the name of the player.
Jack Hetherington's there as well.
Yeah, I think Jack Hetherington's been playing. No,
good on him.
No suspensions.
No, of course, you needed somewhere to start again.
Team list. I'll just go. Who?
Yeah, incidentally, he's
Oh, he's actually injured. Hang on a sec. He wasn't playing that game. Round 26. Just give me a second. Teams. I mean, I feel like Leo Thompson. Yeah, I was right.
Oh, it is
Leo Thompson. Yeah, Leo Thompson.
Unsung hero.
Yeah. I think that their forwards have been Phoenix Crossland as well. Not a natural line.
He's adapted well.
He's adapted very well and has combined well with his 6 and 7. But looking forward to some really good finals matches. I think there'll be some clear winners, but some games that I don't think the results are as clear as we'd like. So I think they're going to be some cracker games. I'm really, really looking forward to this finals match. But with that, I think we've made it to the deep end of the podcast. If you're here, please be sure to like and subscribe. Share this podcast with your friends, share it with your family, whoever loves rugby league. And if your team's out of the finals, I wish that next year you guys have some better results. If your team is in the finals, I hope your team does perform well and we have some cracker games on the weekend. Any last words, Dibbo?
No, don't just tune in to be a rugby league fan. Just because your team's out of the finals doesn't mean you sulk about them and the players. Tune in. Enjoy it.
There's going to be some cracker games coming up. Thank you so much for the support. If you do want a Bulldogs Kennel hat, let us know and, we can get one out to you. Other than that, thank you very much for your support and go the Bulldogs.